Right, back tonight, you're in focus, and thanks for staying on. Child protection groups have raised the alarm as South Africa enters a kidnapping pandemic, with 1 in 5 children going missing every 5 hours. Child services expert says the extent of the crime remains incomplete since police databases, the police database was last updated in 2013. Just under 80% of missing children are found in the country. Joining us now to share her perspective on human trafficking and kidnapping trends is Missing Children South Africa National Coordinator Bianca van Aswegen. Bianca, good to have you with us, and thank you very much for your time. You're saying you have seen an unprecedented number of alerts that you're issuing this year, more than usual. Give us, a quantum basic figure. In normal years, what would have been the number and what has changed?
Yes, we've definitely seen an increase in cases being reported to our organization for different reasons, especially kidnapping has escalated. Unfortunately, statistics is not available. As you mentioned, the police have last put out statistics in 2013, but stats only gives us a general indication of what we are dealing with. There are a lot of contributing factors, unfortunately, to what the extreme extent is. People in rural areas that are unable to open cases. We've got illegal immigrants that are too scared to go open a case. People, during lockdown, we've seen police stations that were closed. People couldn't go open cases. So there's a lot of contributing factors that influence these stats. The stats that we do have, though, is an indication of the rise in kidnappings and also the fact of the U.S. Department of State declaring South Africa as a human trafficking hub here at the end of 2021 last year.
Yeah. What are these kidnappings related to? Is it just pure ransom? Is it human trafficking? Are they taken outside of the country for other purposes? What is the purpose of these kidnappings as you see them?
We have to look at the different types of kidnappings that we're dealing with. We've got opportunistic kidnappings, we've got kidnappings for ransom, we've got parental and family abductions, we've got kidnappings that happen for traditional medicine purposes, and then we've got human trafficking. But under the category of human trafficking, we've got sexual exploitation, forced labor, illegal adoptions, and also that of organ trafficking. So the kidnappings that we are seeing, it kind of differs from case to case, but we've seen some ransom demand kidnappings. We have seen kidnappings happen for traditional medicine purposes. Whereas we look at human trafficking is basically where a person is used as a commodity. So they are taken and sold for a specific purpose. As I mentioned, for sexual exploitation, forced labor, illegal adoptions, organ harvesting. So there's an increase in both of them, in kidnappings and in human trafficking, just to name a few of the reasons why kidnappings actually happen.
Yeah. So you mentioned there are some opportunistic ones, but of course to a degree there are some which are extensively planned. What kind of extensive planning goes into, for example, the kind of syndicates that are operating in South Africa?
Yes, the syndicates is definitely more orientated with your ransom kidnappings and also that of human trafficking. We've got very sophisticated kidnappings that happen, whether it's ransom demand or trafficking. These guys are very sophisticated. But then unfortunately we also deal with some copycat kidnappers, that see this as a quick opportunity to make some money. These guys, especially the human traffickers, they've also seen the opportunity where people have fallen victim with online scams, for instance, with false job advertisements, especially with our country, with the unemployment rate and also the poverty that has stricken our country, especially during or just after COVID. So many people are falling victim to false job advertisements, all these modeling contracts that are being posted. Children are being groomed and lured on Facebook and on social media pages by false profiles and being groomed over a period of time. So, yes, we're dealing with a lot at the moment. Yeah.
Tell me then, is there a direct relationship, maybe would you say, in terms of the economic crunch that we're feeling in South Africa, but I suppose everywhere else in the world is currently being felt, and the rise in the number of these kidnappings?
Definitely. I think in general, crime has escalated due to the poverty that has stricken and the job loss in South Africa that COVID has actually caused. We've seen this in the kidnapping and the human trafficking cases that we deal with, that definitely that has had a major impact in it.
And what can then the South African police do to protect the nationals? I mean, is there something that the country can actually do?
Well, the South African Police Services has recently put a new task team together for the specific purpose of combating the kidnappings that are currently happening. And we really hope that this task team will, help and make a difference in that. But it's each and every citizen in South Africa's responsibility to look after each other, and especially our children. Our children are the most vulnerable in our society, and they are the ones that need to be kept safe, because we have seen an increase in children being kidnapped specifically, and we need to do everything possible to keep them safe. So everybody's got the responsibility. It's not just us as an organization or government or SAPS. Yes, from everybody else's side, the collaborations need to be stronger, especially the communication between all the departments. But it's the whole of South Africa's responsibility to stand up, make our voices heard, and combat this problem that we're facing.
Yeah. Some of the kidnapping levels you're seeing quite a rise, especially when we talk transatlantic kind of crimes that are being committed. Is there something that the various embassies, international missions are currently doing to intervene?
Interpol is involved with that. We've also got our human trafficking task force within South Africa that is also communicating with other countries. We are trying to get more awareness regarding this with other countries, with Border Patrol, our airports, our harbors. So it's a very difficult thing to combat, and it's a very difficult crime to actually fight against. But as much as we can, we are doing currently to fight this.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Institute of Security Studies saying that it is, as you put it, quite a complicated crime in terms of tracking and tracing these illicit proceeds and investigating and dismantling these groups. Does it require, I suppose, a stronger component of our intelligence in the country to be able to assist, I suppose, in the fight?
Definitely. It's a crime that has not yet been investigated enough, not been researched enough, and it's also so sophisticated, especially when a victim has been taken for human trafficking purposes. They get transported and changed hands so many times before they actually reach their destination. So the tracking and tracing is very difficult, and especially when they take people out of our country or being brought into our country, as we are seen as a transit company, a transit country, export and import country for human trafficking. And unfortunately, human trafficking is the biggest criminal industry in the world currently, and only a very small percentage of human trafficking victims are ever found worldwide. So this is a very difficult crime to fight and to put to a stop.
Yeah. As an organization, I know you're doing a lot of work, but what are you doing on the ground, particularly to create awareness around the emergency alerts, around how do we shape our own security in our homes, and so on and so forth?
It's very important to us. Safety is very important, and that is part of our organization, is the awareness and the education of safety, especially with children going missing, human trafficking and kidnappings. So we urge parents and guardians to please always have your children under supervision. Make sure we're especially heading to festive season time now almost. So that's when we have our busiest times in the malls and down at our beaches. People need to be very, very vigilant when going out with their children. Teenagers, once again, parents should be very vigilant of what they're busy with on social media. Monitor their social media use. Make sure the privacy settings are set correctly. Have an open relationship with your child. Know what's going on. And you as an adult yourself need to be very vigilant going out by yourself, driving at night. Who you meeting up with? If you apply for a job, make sure the company is legit. Do your homework. Let someone know when you're leaving, when you'll be back. It's all these small little things that really save someone's life.
Bianca, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. National Coordinator for Missing Children South Africa, Bianca van Aswegen.